So the Israeli ambassador to the UN, he goes on BBC Hard Talk and he does an interview about the annexation, and I don't even know where to begin with this. It's so preposterous. I'm going to play you just about 2 minutes from the clip, okay? And listen to what he says about Israel's right, alleged right to take the land. It's not annexation, according to him. Because you can't annex something that you already own. That's what he said. I'm not kidding. This is the ambassador to the United Nations. You are not going to believe this. You can't make this up. Okay, you ready to listen?
Well, there are many Israelis who do appear to be confused. A poll just released by the Israel Democracy Organization shows 55% of Israelis no longer believe that annexation is going to happen. And it's clear that the so-called alternate Prime Minister, Benny Gantz, from the Blue and White Party, is saying that he doesn't believe it will or should happen. So there is confusion.
So I will correct you again. I refer it to applying sovereignty. You cannot annex something that belongs to you. When you annex something, you do it from a foreign territory. So I don't know from whom we are annexing it. We did it actually in 1967 in Jerusalem. We applied sovereignty over Jerusalem. In 1981, we applied sovereignty over the Golan Heights. And now there is a discussion, not a decision yet, but a discussion about applying sovereignty over parts of Judea and Samaria. But to your question, we are a strong democracy, one of the strongest democracies.
No. I'm going to stop you right there. Did you hear what he called it? He didn't call it annexation. He said, we applied sovereignty. Wow. Really? That's a new one. I love the double speak. It's nice, right? We applied sovereignty. Yeah, you stole it. You stole it. You stole East Jerusalem. You stole the Golan Heights. They don't belong to you. Like the whole planet agrees that they're not your land. There's multiple UN resolutions about this. It couldn't be more clear. It couldn't be more clear. It's rare to see the whole planet agree on something. And yes, all of them, all of the member states at the UN passed these resolutions in almost complete unison and agreement. The Golan Heights are Syrian. Okay? East Jerusalem does not belong to you. Sinai Peninsula is Egyptian. I mean, and he's like, no, we applied sovereignty. You annexed them. You stole them. And he's like, so I don't know from whom we would be annexing them. Oh, from China, of course, right? You're taking them from the Chinese. Fucker. Like he's never heard of Palestinians. Like, what? Who? Oil? Bitch, you cooking? Just runs out the room. Remember Black Bush? He tried to pull a Black Bush right there. This motherfucker. This is the ambassador to the UN. You know, where they convene and converse based on international agreements and international law. No. Oh no, it gets worse. It gets worse. We're not done. Yeah, check this out. Listen very well.
And to start to implement it. So any decision that will be made, it will be coordinated with our allies in Washington.
Well, we'll talk at length about your allies in Washington in a moment. But now let's get to your point about legitimacy and the law. You say you reject the word annexation because you cannot annex what is yours. Do you believe in international law, Ambassador?
Absolutely. And I explained to my colleagues in the Security Council about our rights to the land. So it's
greatest of respect, Ambassador, this notion that the land, the occupied West Bank is yours, is not in any accordance with international law as defined by independent jurists right across the world, and you know it.
I beg to differ with you, and I will explain to you. But before we speak about the legal issues, let's speak about the biblical rights that we have to the land. Hang
on. We're talking international law. Why are you introducing the Bible or indeed ancestral history? This is nothing to do. This is nothing to do with the Bible or with ancestral history. This is about international law, and under that law, your notion that this disputed territory that was conquered in war by Israel in 1967, your notion that it is yours simply flouts international law and convention.
So you will have to allow me to explain my point. And I will get to the international law in a minute. But we do have biblical rights to the land. Whether you are Christian, Muslim, or Jew, you read the Bible, you read the stories of the Bible, it's all there.
Is the Bible a legal document, Ambassador?
This is our deed to the land. That's biblical. We have historical rights to the land.
Nothing to do with the law.
I will get to the international law in a minute. We have historical rights to the land. You just need to read the history book. You can go to Rome and to see the Arch of Titus, and you will see evidence for our connection to the land. And now I'm getting to international law. I want to go back to 1917, Balfour Declaration, providing a homeland for a Jewish state in Palestine. Then from 1917, you go to 1920, to the San Remo Conference. Again, Jewish homeland for the Jewish people. And then when you go to the Charter of the UN, for the UN itself, it says specifically that it will adapt any previous agreements. So basically it adapted San Remo Conference. So we do have legal rights to the land.
Frankly, Ambassador, there isn't an independent legal mind in the world who thinks that would stand up in any court of law. But
this is pure malarkey. This is really malarkey, man. Did you hear what he said? He said, the Bible is our deed to the land. Really? Wow. Wow, that's crazy, man. You know, I seem to recall this like really small passage somewhere in the Bible where it says, thou shalt not kill. I don't know if you've heard of it, but you should maybe look into that, since you like kill Palestinians every day. Just saying, right? Just saying. They leave that part out, don't they? So this is very horrifying. This should frighten you, okay? Because this kind of far-right extremist is the person that they send to the United Nations, who's not interested in international law. And when he finally gets to international law, I love how he says like, hold on a second. We have biblical rights to the land. I'll get to international law in a second. Like as if that's some kind of back burner issue. Motherfucker, you work at the UN. What do you mean you'll get to it in a second? Is this guy on crack? You cannot cite the Balfour Declaration as international law and your right to the land. You know why? Because who wrote the Balfour Declaration? Where'd that come from? Here's a clue. It didn't come from Palestinians or Arabs. It came from colonialists, right? The French and the British decided that they would give away land that is not theirs to other people who aren't from this land. So, if you're citing agreements and declarations by colonialists, by imperialists from over 100 years ago, don't look too good for your case, okay? So let's get that straight. That's number one. Now, second of all, the broader implications of what he's saying here show to you that they're not interested in a two-state solution. There is no two-state solution. For them, it's like this. All of this is ours. Right? They have this idea for a greater Israel, which is stretching from the Nile to the Euphrates, right? That's their idea. So you can't negotiate with someone like this. And then it's very ironic because he goes on to say, the Palestinians won't negotiate with us. Yes, because listen to you. You're a far-right extremist. You're a colonialist settler who's coming along, who doesn't care about international law, only when it suits you, right? So he'll claim that, we have sovereignty. The UN gave us sovereignty, but then he doesn't want to listen to the UN resolutions that say the Golan Heights are Syrian, that the West Bank, that East Jerusalem are not theirs, that the Jordan Valley is not theirs. He cherry picks which international law he wants to listen to, just like Israel has always done. They cherry pick. And they want to have it both ways. They want to have their cake and eat it too, right? Unbelievable. And, this just shows you that you have no recourse. You can't negotiate with someone who's convinced that they are religiously or morally superior to you and that therefore, you deserve to die because they just want to claim this land based on what it says in the Bible. I can't believe this. This guy works at the UN. This is the ambassador to the UN. This is the kind of person that they're sending, right? This is an embarrassment. This is embarrassing. Let me ask you a question. How do you think that other nations would react if, I don't know, any Arab country, pick one, said like, this is ours because it says so in the Quran? Do you think Israel would be quiet? Do you think the United States, they would accept this? Do you think anyone else would accept that? But somehow it's okay for them to cite the Bible as some kind of religious, moral, superior justification to ethnically cleanse Palestinians, forcibly remove them from their land. No, you can't justify genocide and ethnic cleansing with religion, okay? This is insanity. It's illegal. It's nuts. He goes on to say another thing. He says later on in the same interview, which is 23 minutes long, he says something that, like, I'm paraphrasing here. He says, I wasn't just the ambassador for Israel to the United Nations. I'm a representative of all Jewish people. Pretty sure you're not, okay? Pretty sure you're not. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of Jews who don't agree with Zionism. Moreover, this would be equally ridiculous if, for example, the ambassador from Saudi Arabia to the UN said, I represent all Muslims. No, you don't. Okay? You definitely don't. I mean, this is just insulting. It really is. And, you can't reason with someone like that. These people are not interested. Netanyahu, Danny Donan, and all of these settler colonialists are not interested in a two-state solution. They're not. But they want to convince you that Palestinians can't be talked to, they can't be negotiated with. Yeah, because you depart off of the basis that you are morally, religiously, and ethnically superior to them. Not to mention that you're committing genocide. That's maybe something you should stop before you expect someone else to negotiate with you. I mean, this is... How can you win with someone who's convinced the Bible gives them the right to ethnically cleanse people? What sort of negotiation do you think is going to take place here? What sort of results do you think you will yield from a discussion with someone like that? And you heard him. He's the ambassador to the UN, and he treats international law as some kind of back burner issue. Oh my God. What an embarrassment. I would be ashamed to send someone like that to the UN. And that's saying something. When you look at ambassadors from the US. Oh, remember they said Pete Buttigieg might be... Oh, God. You remember that memo that leaked from Joe Biden's campaign saying he might put Pete Buttigieg as the US ambassador to the UN? Oh, my God. Oh, no. They really make a mockery out of this institution, And, if you're reading between the lines, although it's quite explicit, no need. He blatantly, openly claims and says that, we will decide this on our own. The government will decide this. And we will confer with our allies in Washington, D.C., right? Which, once again, underlines the fact that this is an imperialist, white supremacist project, right? That's what it's all about, man. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. Okay? So apparently it's okay to use white phosphorus. It's okay to annex people's land as long as it's okay to kill Palestinians, to put them under siege warfare, starve them, control their electricity and water, put them under a curfew, their entire fucking lives. As long as you say, we applied sovereignty over the land, right? And as long as you have a deed, a biblical deed, right, to the land, then you're good. Unbelievable, man. The brazen arrogance of it all, right? And just like Norman Finkelstein said, Israel is really the only nation in modern history that is committing genocide with zero consequences. Absolutely unbelievable.